Group D, the final group, everybody. The Nations Cup qualifier for Europe continues, and we have Sweden against UK today in our first match. Once again, we have 16 countries that are being represented here at the European qualifier for the Nations Cup. Currently, what we're looking at is Group D, the final group. And yeah, this should actually be pretty awesome. Very much looking forward to this one. The Swedes, of course, one of the favorites here, definitely the favorite in the group itself. And 2 teams out of this group will move on to the next round of the tournament when we're whittling all of this down to 8 teams. But yeah, pretty excited for this. So let's have a bit of a look. We had with Sweden. Also our boy Lauber in the house. The UK team, by the way, so there were multiple teams that signed up for the UK. And I don't know who was in the first team, but apparently there was a little bit of a problem, and the team that initially was supposed to represent the country couldn't make it or had to withdraw, and therefore we have now another team replacing them, or maybe they mixed and matched a bit. So not quite sure what exactly happened there. Either way, Infernal Shrines sets us up. Now keep in mind that all of this is also accumulating in an event that is going to take place in Berlin. We're going to have an offline event there, and it should be pretty awesome. Like, I'm really looking forward to just have all of the players again at the venue, to have also a few teams that come in from North America and from Asia. And if you guys want to visit, you can do that. The event takes place at June 11th and 10th. And yeah, links are in the description. You can check it out. It's all happening at the Experian in Berlin at the Alexanderplatz, so very central within Berlin. And it's going to be pretty awesome. You can check out some pictures in the description from the Experian link of other events that they've hosted in the past. And of course, players are going to be there, casters are going to be there. It's going to be pretty good. But okay, so let's get this started. We got the bands coming out real quickly with Brightwing and with Genji here in Infernal Shrines, our starting map. We had some pretty crazy comps. I mean, it's group stage, right? So there's a lot of discrepancy in skills between the teams, which is pretty natural. Personally, I'm just happy that we had this many countries sign up. I was a little bit worried at some point, honestly. I expected that maybe we get like 8 teams together, maybe a little bit more, but I didn't really think that we would get a full 16 teams. So, yeah, that's what we got. And now we're going to check it out. Tychus, he's the one that is going to make it now into the draft. Gets picked first here for his Odin transformation. So we're going to see how that's going to work for them. Getting a little bit of damage out right away. And we have a Blaze on top of that. StarCraft represented. Alrighty. Diablo for Lauber. I kind of expected ETC a bit. This was always his go-to ETC map as well. So let's have a bit of a look of what they can combo off with him. Medivh obviously already got banned, or they could have gone into Leyline and Apocalypse. That would have been pretty interesting too. We saw that just the other day, and it's something that we don't get all that much these days anymore. But when it happens as a wombo combo, it's always entertaining. Dehaka on the side lane for Swamgrotta, and we got a Henning with Rega. So Lightning Shield is now also up. That gives you a bit more AoE when you're playing on the shrine for the objective. With Dehaka, of course, you already have a lot of E represented there. Can also use this global to try and get you the experience a little bit earlier to get to level 7 to level 10, depending on what shrine phase we're talking about. And in addition to that, controls the side lanes for extra experience and to push against structures like forts and keeps, just generally speaking. Hanzo's out, aka both of the Shimada brothers have now gotten the axe in game number 1. And over on the right side, we have now good old Garrosh eliminated. Alright. Last 2 picks, or the next 2 picks for the red team. So Blaze for the side lane is already in. And we still need them with a main tank. So far they don't have one. We could, of course, still get Johanna if you want to have a little bit more AoE on the shrine there. I don't think that they're going to be the ones to go for for ETC here. But a Nubarak and Blaze, always a good combo. You get stuns that you can chain quite easily. Be curious to see how Tigers is going to be played out too. We had actually a fair amount of players yesterday, in particular in Group C, that went into not only stacking on level 4 for Tigers, but also one play from Nano with Press the Advantage and going into the Combat Tactician. I think it was the game that they played against France. With that now we got Falstad and we get Greymane for the damage. Alrighty. Final pick, Lexa, as we're heading into game number 1. What are going to get from the UK? We still need a little bit more damage for them. Okay. What are we getting here? We got Tigers, but that's not going to be enough. A little bit of burst damage after the stun chain that they are probably going to try and initiate with the Nubarak would work. They also have Anduin, so I suppose we're going to get a light bomb from them here. They go for Khaldor, so it adds more CC with the gravity lapse. And time will tell if they can chain it up all properly. Let's go. Game number 1, everybody. Inferno Shrines. Alright, boys and girls. Let's go. Game number 1, Sweden against UK. Over on the left side in blue, we got Svamgrotta on the Haka, Skok on Greymane, Henning with Rega, Lauba on Diablo, and Gia is playing Falstad. To the right side of the map, the Island Boys with Lexa on Khaldor, Captain Barney on Blaze, Lucas on Anduin, Mustard is playing Tigers, and Siegfried on Nubarak. The Swedes, the big favorites, obviously, coming into the series here. These guys are supposed to not only make it out of the group, but also come in first place. Definitely a team that a lot of people see going to Berlin. So they are one of the teams that everybody thinks will attend the offline event and will represent Sweden going up against North America and Asia as well. And it should actually be all good fun. Now, once again, a quick reminder also, if you guys aren't aware of it yet, we added also new merch to the shop. We have actual Nations Cup merch in there and also HGC merch, Heroes Gaming Community merch. Some of it was just added a few days ago, so if you want to check that out, you can have a look at the description and the link that you can find there. Game number 1 on the other hand, as we're starting with the rotations between the mid and the bot lane here in Infernal Shrines. We got the Birdie up at the top and Captain Barney gets licked. Svamgrotta, what a tongue! And Blaze is down. First blood for Sweden. Also, once again, a quick explanation here. The UK team is the team that came in second at the regional qualifier for the United Kingdom. Apparently there were some scheduling issues and some problems, so the initial team that was supposed to represent them couldn't make it. The second place was able to come in here on short notice and at least field the team, so big shout out to them. Really appreciate that they were able to stop by. And they're going to give their best to not only put the Swedes into a corner, but also try and win against the other teams in the group to get out and move on to the next round of the tournament. We're going to whittle things down to 8 teams that go up against each other in a big round robin. It's going to be real fun. Honestly, I'm super excited for the entire Nations Cup. It's awesome. Qualifiers here, the first phase is already fun, but later on games are going to get spicy even more so. Khaldor and Tigers are talking about spicy. We got a double kill from Sweden right away. They take the camp and oh no, it doesn't get any better for UK. Yeah, they had a tough time. First Brexit and now they're losing 4 in the first big fight over Mercenary Camp. Whew. Those are some shots right there. 5 kills to 0. That's an entire 1.5 level lead now for Sweden. And the red team in some serious trouble. Now, part of this obviously to be expected given how strong the Swedes are. It was actually absolutely crazy. I've been talking about Sweden as the career of esports there for a long time, or the career of Europe, sorry, and also about how many good players they have. But I believe they had 3 teams that wanted to represent Sweden and signed up for it. Amongst others, we also had, for example, Breeze playing in one of the qualifiers. Now, obviously, Breeze, former HGC player, has the skills, but he doesn't really have the practice, hasn't really played the game for a long time. And in the end, they were defeated, I believe, with a 3-0 score by the team that you can now see here. These guys obviously have been playing Heroes quite regularly for a long time right now, and hence had the advantage. And talking about advantages, with 6 kills to 0, the blue team is doing really well representing their country here. Not only are they starting to go for the first objective with the shrine active at the bottom of the map, but we see pressure applied to the top fort and the fort in the middle, as UK was hoping to at least get their camp en route before they are potentially going into a shrine fight. And they might just get a kill here. Dehaka attacked, Svamgrotta trying to get away. Scratch the trying.
played around the abilities, made it down to the shrine, and now they're working on objective number 1. They want the Punisher. Mortar Punisher is the first thing that we're going to get here. Falstad is already attacking the bottom fort, as you can see, and in the middle they destroyed the wall previously. So Sweden is pulling all the stops at this point. 6 kills to 0. They got level 8 any second now. And for the UK team, they're poking here a little bit. They're hoping to get level 7 at least for the defense. But given that the wall has been destroyed, they can't even bait the Punisher over the wall and easily defend against it. Instead, we now have the fort itself already with 30% or less hit points, which will very likely lead to its demise now, since we have Sweden pushing in aggressively down here at the bottom of the map, trying to make the play for the fort and maybe even a kill. They only have 3 heroes down here. The Haka is still at the top, Falstad is in the middle. The double global play from Sweden allowing them to rotate both of them, obviously, into a potential team fight. But while they don't have to do that, they're just pushing the adjacent lanes. So as the fort at the bot lane falls, they're moving into the middle to try and destroy a second one. And the Haka has continuously applied pressure topside. Tigers goes down, Mustard is dead. Always preferred catch-up anyways. And they are getting closer and closer to level 10. Yeah, heroic abilities are going to give them another big boost. And for the UK, it's pretty much trying to stop the bleeding here. Somehow they have to try to bring this back a little bit. And it's not gonna be easy given how far ahead the Swedes already are. Now this is obviously what you would to an extent at least expect in the first group stage of the Nations Cup. We are gonna see a lot of dominant matches for sure. It's the nature of the beast. If you have this many teams sign up, a lot of them with amateur players, then you will have of course some clear-cut favorites that will then easily take first spot, second spot in the group and really do their thing here. The cool thing on the other hand is that we have this many countries signed up for the first group stage. I really like it. I did not expect to have 16 teams in total, but it's absolutely awesome. This was not so awesome. Gia with an attempt to go for a good gust, and then he gets the grenade to the face and goes down. Bye, Gia. Yep, that didn't really help him here. A little bit unfortunate for him, but that's just what it is. So, he was hoping for a heroic play, get quickly shut down here. Instead, we now have the attack continuing with only 4 heroes on the blue team side. They're going for Captain Barney again on the other hand, and the licks from Svamgrotta have been on point today. He gets another one through, and that's the end of Blaze. So as they're making their move for Captain Mustard, he dies, and Skork is saved. Kelthas is dead as well. 10 kills to 1. Falstad obviously 4 reports already for feeding, as Gia is now trying to make his way back to the top. It's like, guys, I'm gonna be helping, I promise! Yeah. So, he can at least push the top side a bit. The keep in the middle, obviously, has been taken down. And the Swedish team still rotating down to the bottom of the map. We're super early in the game, we're only 7 minutes in, so going at this point for core is nearly impossible. With Greymane, Rhaegar, you know, maybe you can make a play here. Falstad buying you a bit more time with the Gust. But the danger that you will be taken down eventually as your opponent locks in level 10 is pretty significant. Because death timers are so low, you kill a hero and then a few seconds later he's already back to business trying to defend again. Makes things rough. Level 13 talents are now in play, so that means that Sweden has at this point another talent advantage over the UK, who just got their level 10. They go again for Kelthas, and he is able to make his way out. Light Bomb Engage is in too, but Captain Mustard, he dies, and so did Tigers at the top side, where Falstad and the Haka were going for global plays once more. Greymane! What an engage again! Jumps in and then dies to the tower. Gia gets immediately ping spammed here as he came in with a Gust, but this time they at least get the kill, so Anduin is now dead as well. 15 kills to 2. The Haka stayed at the top and is still trying to take the fort down. We have 16,000, 17,000 damage for Tigers. Top damage dealer for the red team, whereas on the left side it is Greymane with 27,000. He has been beasting it, no pun intended. absolutely crushing it here with those engages. With the little caveat, of course, that that last engage ended with him dying to a tower. But that set aside, he's been playing a pretty strong game here. 13 kills ahead, and now camps again claimed by the Swedish team as they're attempting to stay dominant here. We have the Haka, of course, already on the objective. And, well, if you're playing for the UK, then right now there's a lot of bad choices that you can make and not really any good ones. Do you wait for level 13? Means that your opponent will not only get the Punisher, but very likely push with a level 16 talent advantage. So you're still looking at talent disadvantage. Now, do you try and force the fight instead? I mean, that's a big question, and they're willing to take it right now. The battle over the camp is already unfolding in front of us, and since the Haka is still up at the top, they're hoping that a 5 versus 4 is going to give them a bit of a lead here. Double camp pushing in the middle, but with the help of Diablo, Tigers is dead. The Ancestral comes out, they're diving deep again, and Greymane is just taking them down. He's clawing his way through the opponent's team. 18 kills to 2, and now they can move straight up for the core if they choose to do so. But there's still a few heroes to be chased on the map. And in this case, it is Captain Barney, who nearly gets licked there and killed. But the rest of the team is now on the core. So while Nubarak is about to die, Blaze has already fallen. UK team obviously knows very well what's happening here. But Lauber falls, and the rest of the team is a bit low, so there's actually a chance that they are going to defend this for just a bit longer. Let's not forget about that Punisher that is pushing the top side. Down here, Gia still doing his thing. Very low though, and they took the core down to 85%, but I don't think that they can finish this just yet. It's actually kind of funny. Occasionally you might have noticed that Khaldor comes in with a living bomb, and we've had a few of the Swedish players. I think what's pretty intentional, trying to spread bombs to other heroes, so the Swedish team is definitely having some fun with this. At this point now though, we have Catapult still going for the core and taking that shield down a notch, as the rest of the team is helping the Punisher out up at the top, and they're making another play, not only for structures but also for additional hero kills, as they're following up on these Punisher stuns. Gust into a corner, Lauber already dead though, and a nice cocoon also from Nubarak, making sure that he denies the Ancestral to Diablo, so there was absolutely no way for Henning to save the target. And look at Lexa coming in with a really nice comp to put more pressure onto Rega. Everybody else is still following up with damage on the keep. In the case of Svangrota, it's at the top lane, even though he pays the price for it. And down at the bottom of the map, it's Falstad and the Haka as they are taking the remaining keep apart. 20 kills, 2-5 in total. Not a full loss for the UK team, not a perfect game for Sweden, but it's still a very strong one. Despite the deaths that the Swedish team has suffered, Rega being the only hero in this entire game that has not fallen even once. We now have 20 kills to 6, 17, 18 to not even 16 yet for the UK on the level count. And apparently they really try to take some structures down, because that Odin cannot be explained for any other reason. If their whole goal is to say, okay boys, let's at least destroy a wall, then this is the play to make. If not, then going for your ulti might have been a bit of a mistake. But it seems like Lauber is going to try and commit Sudoku again, because he jumped in pretty much alone, and it ends exactly as you would have expected. The ragdoll kicked around a bit as the Haka comes in from behind, trying to go for another drag to set the team up. We're still missing out on Greymane though, so they have to be careful when it comes to the damage numbers. Might have been able to get a kill here if Greymane was still alive, but that's not the case. Now Catapults are of course now pushing, and hello sir. Apparently Rega able to bite through Tiger's armor and take him down. We have 4 heroes back on the map now. 71 stacks for Falstad. 15 stacks for Nubarak, so, well, poor Siegfried has not even been able to complete his level 1 quest. Kalthas, on the other hand, he's been able to rely onto his shield for now a little bit, and the added mana pool. They're still defending, but they are pretty pinned down in their base. Getting out of this is gonna be real tricky. they are gonna try and see if they can net themselves another kill or two, especially since Diablo is not with the team yet. But Blaze already at the front, bit in trouble. Khaldor is also not looking too healthy here. Gets the shield out. There's the cocoon. Maybe they can turn it on Rhaegar. Light bomb, stun, gravity lapse, and Gia saves the day for Rhaegar. The self-ancestral after the Mighty Gust is able to keep him in play. And now the full force of Sweden bears down on the United Kingdom. And it's not looking good. Greymin gets kill after kill. Falstad takes down a Nuburak. The Crybaby is running away, but they are chasing him down, and at the same time they're also starting to make their play for the core. So it looks like another 5-man team wipe. Barbecued Anduin, best Anduin. So, game over, game taken. The Swedes, they take the first map in this series here on Infernal Shrines. Well done, the Swedish team with the lead in the best of 3 in the qualifier. GG.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Okay, here we are, Battlefield of Eternity, map number 2. This time in the draft without these weird lines that we had. Took a little bit, but there was a source that became a very bad source, behaved in a bad way. It got spanked a little bit and removed. So now we're heading into game number 2, Battlefield of Eternity. Sweden is in the lead. They are the favorites in the group. There's no denying that. And the UK team, as mentioned before, they are a bit of an underdog, especially since it is the second UK team and not the first UK team, who, as I said, couldn't make it and had to be replaced, who are now playing here. It's actually still funny to me. There's a lot of the teams that come in as the underdog that have their own objectives. They know that it's unlikely for them to make it out of the group, but they are, of course, having fun gathering some experience here against some of the top players and just participating in the tournament environment. And we had, I believe it was yesterday and the day before, a few teams that said when they went up against the favorite within the group that their main goal was to make it through the 10-minute mark. So it's actually pretty sweet, but there can always be an upset, and especially when we're fighting for the second place or third place within a group, or then later on the top teams that make it to the event in Berlin. There are a few teams that could definitely fight for a spot there. Now that we're heading into Battlefield of Eternity, we're going to see if UK can maybe come in with a bit of a secret sauce strategy and get a victory. Keep in mind, the 10 heroes that were played on the first map cannot be played again within the same series. It's a small adjustment to the draft that we made to make it more interesting for the audience, but also for the players, without just going full meta madness on this and forcing just crazy compositions. I wouldn't really put it past the Swedish team in particular, now that they have a lead and were convincingly able to win the first map, to maybe draft a few heroes that are more outside of the box. I'm looking specifically over to Svamgrotta here, who is somebody that loves his murky plays. Is that going to be the hero that he picks on Battlefield of Eternity? I doubt it. If this was Tomb of the Spider Queen or one of the bigger maps, I could see Svamgrotta just drop a murky on us. But it also depends a bit on how they want to play out the day. Obviously, they are playing all their matches today. It is Sunday. We're going to play the entire group, so they might also approach this with the sense that they are trying to just get through the games quickly, so that they don't have to play too late, to wait too late, and go through that ordeal. But there could be a chance for them to pick in some weird picks, and well, we have Muradin and Varian, so that kind of confirms it already to an extent. I can already guarantee you that this is not going to be a Varian with Taunt. At least I would be shocked. This is looking like we're either going to get Smashy Smash Smash, or maybe more likely the Meme Blades. So one of the two coming in for the damage. So it is an adjustment. It's not quite what I expected from him, but it's definitely something. Alright. Orphea gets banned. We still have Skog and Gia for their picks. And the one thing with Sweden was always that it is just incredible to me how many top players Sweden always has had. I talked about it in the past. It's the Korea of Europe. It really is. Like, this country has 9 million people living in it, as far as I know, which is a fucking joke if you compare it to countries like Germany, which had 10 times the population, roughly. And then you look at the amount of German top players and the amount of Swedish top players, and it's like, what's going wrong here? Now, one of the explanations was always that Sweden is just insanely boring. There's nothing to do over there. especially since the winters are super long and the weather is insanely cold, so most of the guys are staying inside or at internet cafes and just practice their pro gamer skills. I'm not quite happy with that explanation, but yeah, I would love if we had a few more countries that would be able to field this many top players. And of course, esports is also a lot more acceptable in Sweden, so we get Jimmy, we get Alarak, and we have Varian, who's very likely coming in with some meme blade action, as I said already, unless they want to go for burst damage and go for smash. On the other side, double orc with Garrosh and Thrall, Li Ming for burst damage. And what are we going to get from our last pick for the UK team here for game number 2 of this Group C match? No, Group D, man, Group D. Did I say Group C earlier? I think I did. It's Group D, final group, fourth group. Deathwing, the final pick, and that sets us up for game number 2, everybody. Battlefield of Eternity, the best of series continues with Sweden against UK. Game number 2, and over on the left side, we got the Swedes with Svampgrotta on Varian, Skog on Reyna, Henning on Lucio, Lauber on Murden, and Gia on Alarak. That was a really good comment that was made on Twitch, by the way, because somebody pointed out that one of the additional reasons why a lot of those guys are just really good is that alcohol is incredibly expensive in Sweden, and indeed it is. The taxes on alcohol are insane. The UK on the right side with Lukas on Stukov, Lexa on Li Ming. We got Captain Barney on Deathwing, Siegfried on Garrosh, and Mustard is playing Thrall in game number 2 of this one. Already a lot of stacking happening here. We got the stacks for Alarak, we got stacks for Jimmy with the Veteran Marksman, and we have the High King's Quest already indicating that we... Oh, that's a quick one. Skog! No! They didn't get him! Get him! Yes! Nice! Oh boy. And the spray game is there as well. Love it. They came in with a mission, they executed it perfectly, and it was crazy good. Nicely done. I like it. They really wanted a kill, and they got that kill right at the beginning, and there we have it. But yeah, Sweden definitely was for me always one of the odd ones when it came to esports. In a positive way, by the way. I mean, I'm joking about it a little bit, but I mean this actually very positive. It was, especially in countries like Germany and more conservative countries within Europe, always crazy to think about somebody becoming, you know, a pro player. Where in Sweden, it is very deeply ingrained in the culture and accepted. You have major newspapers reporting about it. You have people that are able to take a gap year for esports, Breeze being a good example in the heights of HGC. That's something that you just can't do in the same way when you live, let's say, in Germany. So the Swedes really open to all of this, and it was always pretty sweet to just see that happen. That's why I said the Korea of Europe. It's very similar to when it comes to mainstream acceptance over there. I've been telling this story actually for quite a bit. When I came back from Korea, which was in 2013, I went to a family reunion, and I lived in Korea for 3 years for esports before I worked full-time in esports in Germany for a while as well. And that was always just total minimum wage, 60, 70 hour weeks for minimum wage. It was just crazy, really more of a passion project than anything else. And then slowly things started to change when I was in Korea, and obviously there it was very differently received. But when I went to that family reunion, I had my cousins and multiple aunts and uncles, my cousins at the time being 18, roughly 20, and therefore very familiar with YouTube and all of these platforms. Everybody asked me at this bloody event, so now that you're back, are you gonna get a real job? I was just sitting there thinking, fuck you. What do you think I've been doing for the last 5 years? Twiddling my thumbs, playing video games, and every now and then yell into a microphone. Like, I've been working more than you have, most likely, at least when it comes to the weekly pensum. It was just absolutely crazy. Like, even my young cousins couldn't imagine that it is a full-time job to do YouTube, to do live streaming and all of these things. I got it when my aunts and uncles, who were a little bit older, that they maybe didn't really understand it. But I was just sitting at that family reunion, and every single time somebody approached me, I was just like, not this shit again, just leave me alone. So yeah, so are you gonna get a real job now? It was like, get the fuck out. But yeah, Sweden is a little bit different. Long way to say that it's pretty cool that we have esports now much more accepted in the mainstream. Maybe not in every country, but at least a lot of them. We get the smashy smash, focusing on the game here. So we have Varian going for a bit more burst damage, whereas the Behemoth armor followed up on Arena stacks on level 1. Obviously, with the choices that Alarak made, we have on level 4 now also the negatively charged. And on the other side, still pretty traditional builds for the UK team. So far, only a single kill. Nothing happened. We had the big fights that I showed down at the bottom of the map as everybody was trying to get the camp, but nobody died in the process. And now that they're focusing on the objective, there is a bit of a lead for the UK team. They're doing really well here in game number 2 if you compare it to the performance in the first map. Now, the question is if they can sustain that throughout the entire game, but at least at this point in time, you gotta give them some credit for this. They're really playing it tight, keeping it together, and attempting, of course, now to win objective number 1 and rock it with the Immortal here. But, yeah, we'll see. Halftime show is more or less a wash. I mean, we're talking about 100 hit points between the two, so very, very close. And currently the Swedes are looking for kills. Now, the point is that Alarak and Jimmy are, of course, scaling very aggressively into the late game with all of it. So as the game continues, their damage output is going to rise. And in the case of Jimmy, survivability as well. But we have another kill for the boys from the UK here. They take down Varian. Varian dead, and they also claim the objective. This is a cheeky. This is a really nice move. Job well done. Level 7 on both sides, but all of a sudden the red team is starting to become a lot more confident in their performance here, and they are pushing through the bot lane. We get an orb build for Li Ming. No Calamity. I mean, it was already a bit indicated after she went for Power Hungry on level 1. But as is, the push against Garrosh, and he goes down. Garrosh eliminated, he's gone, and now they have a much easier time taking the Immortal down. Jimmy is currently sitting at 26 stacks, so he needs a bit more to draw even with the potential ace in the hole pick that they could have alternatively gone for, which he decided to forego here. In addition to that, we have 10 stacks right now for our man Alarak on his level 4. He is done with the level 1 quest. Sadism, yeah, is sitting at 93 right now, so we'll see how far he can push the level 4 and also his Sadism stacks as we're heading into the next few team fights. For now, they've taken a tiny lead in experience, nothing too insane. Alarak takes the W here and gets another easy and free stack, but they are pushing through the wall now, and they have to be stopped eventually, so the red team is rotating a few more heroes down to the bottom of the map. And in the meantime, we have Jimmy also just going through with one hit after getting the stacks up here and also getting the kill. Garrosh goes down, Jimmy at 31 stacks, even more now for Alarak as he's sitting at 14, has 99 sadism, damage numbers still in favor of Jimmy, but I think as the game continues and Gia is getting more of his stacks together, he will most likely take over the top numbers in damage for the blue team. On the side of the UK, we got 22,000 for Li Ming. Level 10 abilities dropping in any second. Swamgroda using his massive AoE clear, Kappa, at the top to deal with the minion wave. But down at the bottom of the map, that's where the real party starts, since the siege is still on. Lauba goes, of course, into the Playmaker on level 10, and here's the Hyperion as they're zoning them away, and they're also dishing out more damage on the fort that is now dropping fairly quickly. So they're looking good. The Swedes look pretty good now, 3 kills to 2, but it also clearly shows that the UK is... they're running a much tighter ship now than they did in game number 1. A bit better towards the end of the game there, but it was already too late to salvage the situation. This time they might have a chance now with level 10 abilities kicking in to go for objective number 2. They already locked down the first one. We have them with Sundering, and we're still waiting for Garrosh to make a move. But the halftime show goes this time to the blue team. They want the kill. Varian with a smash, yelling around. Oh, and the save. They are saving Thrall, at least for the time being. He's still a bit low, but they can't follow it up with additional damage. It allows the blue team, though, to make another move for the Immortal and focus this one down fairly quickly. So that's exactly what we're going to get here. Another quick hit from Li Ming as she comes in from the side, but they focus on Varian again. He makes it out of the fight.
The battle not over yet. More stacks coming in for Jimmy, for Alarak. They're trying to stack the damage as quickly as possible here, but the objective will still be claimed. With all of the defensive moves that we're having from the team in red, they still won't be able to completely shut these attacks down. The aggression is eventually going to lead to an immortal for the blue team. They don't have to brute force this one. They can just wait until somebody on the red team side is making a move for the blue team's immortal and then use their superior numbers to push in here. 20 stacks for Alarak, as I said before, is eventually going to end up with pretty decent numbers here. And it's already showing. We are going once again for Garrosh apparently, but he saves himself. Good stun too. Objective has been taken as expected. 24,000 damage now for Jimmy, getting one attack in after another. Skov with good positioning here. They're coming in for Liminga, taking her down. Following up with a second kill on Thrall. He's dead too, and the rest of the team is on the run as Lucio is helping the blue team to chase them down one after another. High King's quest completed. Stukov is dead, and Garrosh gets murdered. 7 kills to 2, Immortal at the top. The only one that was able to survive is Deathwing. And this is going to spell out the end of the top fort for sure. At the bottom of the map, Deathwing is trying to go for a bit more counter pressure here. Kept Barney to the rescue, but Svamkarota is already meeting him right up. And well, with the shield just barely removed, as the Immortal is moving in, we have level 13 talents for the blue team, and they are now able to use the Hyperion to make this a pretty nasty push. The UK team trying their best. They won't be able to save the wall. Problem is that they will also likely lose a decent amount of hit points on their keep as the attack continues. We get the Thunderstrike, by the way. Thunderstrike and the Reverberation are kicking in, so not going into the Bronzebeard Rage, which would be the normal talent for Lauber to follow his level 4 up with. 25 stacks for Alarak, and a little bit more important here too, he's at 111 sadism currently. Varian still pushing through the bottom of the map. And they really want that keep, and I mean, why wouldn't they? They have a talent advantage, and they even get the kill on Garrosh, so that's a 3 versus 4 situation topside, with Varian now moving in to help the team out and turning it, at least temporarily, into a 5 versus 3. 35,000 for Jimmy. He's really crushing the numbers now. Skog is getting those hits in one after another. Stukov is dead. Stukov down. The keep exposed. And Lauber could already move in. Catapults are going straight for the structure. Another Stormbolt connects, and this might just be the end of Thrall, who barely saves himself here, utilizing his level 7 talent to nuke down Lauber a bit and give himself some extra hit points. Keep has still not been destroyed. 16 seconds, by the way, until Jimmy has his Hyperion back, so at least that is gonna spell the end of the keep. Liming down, Varian died as well. Alarak with a kill on Garrosh. And Skog, 2 seconds for Hyperion. Oh, he could use it now. And drops it. Yep, that's going to end the keep. This one's gone. The next Immortal has been announced. 11 kills to 3, a 2-level advantage as they're still brawling it out. Some of the red team's heroes, and also the blue teams, by the way, are running out of mana quite significantly here. The lead in experience is, of course, going to propel the Swedes forward to level 16 for the next big fight. And since the... Glass Cannon! Ballsy move, baby! Glass Cannon seems like a bit of a desperation move for the UK, considering the situation they're in here. If Alarak is diving in deep for her, this should be an easy kill, but yeah, can help them. And I can understand the impulse. You want at this point to try and make a play so that with a bit of a risk taken, you get kills, you get resets, and then can maybe snowball fights. But that is, yeah, they are a little bit desperate. It's a bit of a panic button move, I'd say. I'm not quite sure if they really wanted to go from this from the beginning. It's an AWP build after all, so yes, you could make the argument that with that, it's worth it for her staying in the back line. Lexa could definitely get those numbers in for them right now, but the problem is still this level 16 talent that they are missing. 43,000 damage for Jimmy. he's looking great, and Alarak and Muradin are very likely going to make a play eventually for Li Ming. Score gets pushed into the corner though, so he's very likely going to fall here, especially since Deathwing is joining the fun as well. But look at Lucio, he nearly saved him, and now Li Ming, as expected, gets attacked by Alarak. It immediately popped. Glass Cannon, definitely a bit of an issue here to keep her alive. Stukov is also dead. Deathwing gets murdered. He's dead as well. And right now, we have Varian just soloing the core. Varian, Svamgrota going for the core. Garrosh dies, and now the rest is just bypassing the keep on their way to victory. They are locking in a 2-0 unless Li Ming can perform a bit of a miracle now. But I doubt that's going to be happening. 46 to 44,000 damage for Jimmy and for Alarak. Core about to fall. Jimmy on his way back. Alarak might actually take over the top damage, and he does, beating Jimmy to the punch. Always assuming that they're going to end the game right here, because we got Mr. Reina back to business, and he's moving over to the right side, but Alarak is just stacking the damage up, one hit off at a time. The core is regenerating some of the shield, and Alarak is dead. Killed by Li Ming, and that thing might not be over. Jimmy dies too. All of a sudden the damage dealers are gone. Yes, the Hyperion is still going to get a shot off against the core, I'd assume, but that only puts it down to 12%, and nobody is going to make that move. Lauber is coming in. Svamgrota is finally re-engaging, and yes, that is all she wrote. Sweden with 2-0 takes out the UK in match number 1 of Group D.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.